Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. Welcome back to Baton Rouge, where we are getting set to talk to the LSU Lady Tigers. They are set for their Baton Rouge regional game tomorrow against Middle Tennessee. Happy to be joined by Flau'jae Johnson to my immediate left, Angel Reese on the far end there. As we have been doing all week long, we invite you to ask questions to either player. Please raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone to you since we're streaming. Ask the player directly which player address them, which one you're asking a question. Please introduce yourself and your affiliation. With that, we welcome you back to Baton Rouge. Let's open up the floor for questions for Flau'jae or Angel, please.
Matthew Burneth on 3. Angel, just what can you kind of take from yesterday's game and you specifically going into Middle Tennessee?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I have to be better offensively for sure. I think defensively and rebounding, I did a good job. But offensively, my team needs more from me. So being able to just finish around the basket better going into the second game is going to be something that's going to be important.
BRZ TV in Baton Rouge for Angel. Your relationship with Shaq. As I watch you play throughout the year, I see, you won't get the benefit of the calls a lot of times that, that maybe you should, I guess, and that's something that he dealt with. Is that a conversation that you guys have had as far as keeping your composure, playing with patience, those kinds of things?
Yeah, I mean, he just tells me all the time, just stay calm, stay poised. I mean, he always tells me, like, you know who you are, and you're not going to get a lot of things because of who you are. So just trying to stay confident, stay poised. I mean, I have great teammates and coaches that still put confidence in me when I'm not making a lot of shots or I'm not getting the calls that I should deserve sometimes. So just not getting down, not getting emotional, and not letting that affect my game.
Chessa Boucher with WVLA here in Baton Rouge. Flau'jae, you've had the task of really clamping down on some really great shooters this year. You have 2 to face tomorrow. What is it for you defensively to, try to slow them down?
Yeah, I think just kind of putting all of that into this game, everything I've learned. I've clamped down a lot of players. Some games I got scored on a lot more than I would like to admit. But, just taking the good and the bad and trying to figure out how to, have a good defensive performance tomorrow. I think that's what's going to be about. Because Middle Tennessee, they can shoot. So that's what we're going to be working on today.
For both the girls, we'll start with Flau'jae if we can. Just Kim talked about yesterday maybe being an attention getter, as far as commitment and focus and understanding that, you could get beat. Have you all done any scout? And so far, does it seem to have set in, the messaging of focus?
Yeah, we definitely have done scout. I said yesterday in the press conference that that was the first time all of us was on the court together, in a long time, not just piecing it here, piecing it there. And, we really needed that wake-up call game. We know that game should have went differently, should have won by a lot more. But, you know what I'm saying? You need those games. I think last year, played Hawaii the first game. We didn't have as good as a game we should have. So, I just think it's March nerves, March jitters. So we got that out now. We got to go do what we know how to do. You know what I'm saying? Because any team could have beat us yesterday with 20-plus turnovers.
I agree. Yeah.
For either player, what did you learn from watching how Middle Tennessee handled yesterday's game, especially with the comeback? And I know their schedule is not like yours, but they have won 20 in a row and haven't lost since December 30th. How do you put that in perspective?
Yeah, I mean, they're a super disciplined team. They take advantage of matchups. They take advantage of turnovers. They take advantage of mess-ups. So understanding, like, we can't turn the ball over 24 times because they're going to maximize off of that. And they have a great team where everybody plays their role. They set great screens to set up a lot of great shots. And you have to play for the whole shot clock. Their last seconds, they will come up and make some shots, and we saw that yesterday. They were down 17 at a point, and you see how they could come back and just easily beat you. So tomorrow we can't get a lead and go up and then take our foot off the pedal. So just being able to just keep pushing, keep going through, because they are a good team, and they have beat SEC team this year, so they're a talented team.
Corey Diaz with the USA Today Network. Hopeful to get a thought from both of you. I want to ask you about Michaela. It's her freshman year, and she scored the first points for you guys yesterday, in her first ever NCAA tournament game. But just how you guys, as her teammates, have seen her evolve and develop this year. Just what stuck out to you most, and I guess just how proud of you of how she's been able to, handle the ebbs and flows of her freshman year.
Super proud. When she came in, I just coming off my freshman year, just wanted to, prepare her as much as I could, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just proud of her that she just learning how to try to keep her poise and composure. I talked to her a lot about that, you know what I'm saying, just going into it. Like, sometimes coaching isn't going to be what you want it to be in the moment. You ain't going to be hitting shots, but you just got to learn how to affect the game in a lot of ways. And I think she's becoming a well-rounded player every time she steps on the floor.
Yeah, her confidence. I mean, as a freshman, last year we had Flau'jae that was super confident, and having another freshman coming in and super confident. These freshmen these days, they're killing it. I know I wasn't as confident like that as a freshman, but being able to have somebody on the team that is willing to do whatever it takes to win. When her shots are not going in, she's affecting the game differently, and that's a difference from the beginning of the season to now. Her maturity level, being able to understand, like, you can't have a great game every game, and we love that to have that, but defensively, she's also taking that in and taking accountability when she's not focused on her matchup or she's not defending the way she wants to defend or making shots. So I think that's the maturity level of going into the tournament. Like, I think she's done a great job with that.
Girls, will stay with Angel to start. Just Flau'jae talked about, taking tough coaching. When you came here, you talked about, that's one of the things you wanted. How has your relationship with Kim changed or evolved, from what you thought it would be when you got here to what it is now? And Flau'jae, the same thing for you?
I knew what it was when I got here. I told her in my meeting when I was like, I want to be coached hard. I want to be pushed. I don't want you to make me feel like, quote unquote, the best player. Like, I want you to make me feel like I'm at the bottom. I don't want to feel good about anything. Like, in practice, like, I can't take a play off. Like, and sometimes you see it at the next level. Like, they'll let the vets, they'll let the big dogs take plays off. But I don't do that, and I can't do that in practice. And she gets on me a lot about that, and expectations are super high. And I think that would take me a long way, and I'll always remember that.
Yeah, same. I never won. Like, when I was in high school, like, I never won, like, a championship or anything. Told Coach Mulkey that I just wanted to be a winner, you know what I'm saying? And, we won my first year, so it was kind of like a little spoiled a little bit, but I want to be a winner. She know how to win. She has a lot of basketball knowledge, and I think I'm just getting better, the work I put in myself, and then, just taking the gems that she gives me, I'm kind of just incorporating into what I do.
Bryce Kuhn from 24/7 Sports to both players. Both of you kind of spoke to this throughout the season, but obviously Anissa had a part in that game where Poa just kind of said simply she was a beast. And when that stuff happens, we just get behind her. And in a game like that, survive and advance, how important is that in this type of atmosphere to just have a player like that you can kind of count on in moments?
Yeah, it's big. Nisa turn on real quick. Like, you know what I'm saying? She go through spurts where she scores. Like, it's not like she'll score this one, then miss that. No, like, if she gonna hit about 8 in a row. So I got a lot of my assists off her yesterday, just throwing it in there and she putting it up. You know what I mean? So I try to hit her when she hot. But that just goes to show her maturity. She has like a record right now. She has like 2,000 points and some other points, and you know what I'm saying? 1,000 rebounds. So she's just that type of player. Like, you can really count on her. She's very reliable, very consistent every game. You know what I'm saying? So it's big for us going into March to have that. And she's older, upperclassman. So I think it's just that poise and that experience.
Yeah, I think she's been a beast all year. And I touched on this a lot, but like, I feel like I overshadow her sometimes, and just being able to get a lot of attention on myself, but she doesn't really get the attention that she deserves. She works hard every day in practice. She doesn't complain. She just puts her head down and grinds every day, and you love a teammate that does that, because when I'm having an off night, Anissa's going to step up, or just being able to have somebody that gives me confidence to keep going and going and going, because she is a vet. That was her first time last night being in a tournament and playing a tournament game, and you would think she'd be nervous, but you wouldn't even be able to tell that was her first time. So being able to have a teammate like that pushes me and has gotten me better all year was something that's been great.
Jonathan House, Sideline Sports Network, Middle Tennessee State affiliate. Angel, tomorrow you're going up against a two-headed monster. You've got 6'5", Yulia Grabowski, and then you've got 6'6", Anastasia Boldareva. They have a combined 108 blocks on the season. What's the game plan going into that matchup, and how do you plan on getting around their defense that averages that forces 14.5 turnovers per game, 5 blocks, and 7 steals?
Well, they have to go against Angel Reese, Anissa Morrow, and Aaliyah Del Rosario, so they have to work on that and figure that out first. Secondly, we focus on our matchups, of course, in our film room, and it's no different from any other day, any different night. So it's gonna be a team effort. It's not gonna be just two matchups. We have great guards as well too, so it's gonna be a team focus. If they focus on two players, they're in trouble.
Angel, the thing that's impressed me most about Flage is, yes, they've asked her to do more defensively, but I think her athleticism and smoothness, for lack of a better word, on the offensive end has really exceeded my expectations, I guess. Just could you speak to her game and how it's evolving still?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, from freshman year to sophomore year, defensively, I mean, usually you don't see that big jump, and she's taking that big jump. I mean, because freshman year she had to guard a lot of top picks. I mean, I remember I always tell her, like, you guarded Jordan Horston last year in the Tennessee game. Like, she was one of the best players last year in the country. So when she's playing against these girls, that's why I give her that much confidence. I mean, the smoother around the basket, I'd be like, how did that be going in? I'd just be going around looking to rebound, trying to find a way. So she always puts on the show. Her and Niece be making some acrobatic shots. I'd be like, okay, let me just get a rebound and get back on defense.
One yesterday.
Yeah, I was like, okay, let me just get back on defense. It was so fast. Everything happened so fast. That was smooth. That was smooth.
I'm curious, and if both could comment, that'd be great. I'm curious, this time of year, if you lose, it could be it's a very abrupt end to your season. So I'm wondering if, when you guys aren't in the building, if you're at each other's apartments or if you're going to get something to eat, do you try to spend as much time together this time of year than maybe you would a month ago?
Go ahead.
I feel like it's kind of the same. We all don't live at the same apartment complex.
Yeah.
Most of the girls live on campus. Me, Flage, and Haley don't live on campus, so it's kind of hard, but we're with each other all
Every
day.
day.
I think it's good to get a break.
space.
We need to get the space because, I mean, we win this game, we're going to be with each other all week, and I'm sure we're going to go from straight Albany to Cleveland. So I think some time away is okay.
Yeah.
But we're with each other all the time, so it's fun. It's a sisterhood. I don't have any sisters, so I feel like college is the best time ever. Being able to just have a sisterhood and make these kind of memories with amazing girls from different kinds of places, from different experiences and backgrounds, and I'll never ever forget just being able to be in college. I love it.
Yeah, I don't think y'all understand. We're together from August to April.
Yeah. It's okay
couple
to take a
months-
break.
Yeah, it's a couple months in between that. You know what I'm saying? We spend a lot of time on the court. I don't know what people think college basketball is like. We just practice for an hour and then we outside all day. But no, we're together.
We don't even have 24 hours spent without seeing each other. At least one person.
Yeah.
We leave here at 6. We're gonna be back up here tomorrow at 7 a.m. So it's a grind.
On that note, we appreciate your time, Flage and Angel. I know you got practice coming up
Thank
for a little
you.
while. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.
I'm gonna remember you.
We'll be back in about 5 minutes. Head coach Kim Mulkey joins us. Top of the hour, we'll have Middle Tennessee. We'll be right back here in Baton Rouge.
reporter for the Washington Post has been doing the past several years, and the lengths he has gone to try and put a hit piece together. This reporter has been working on a story about me for 2 years. After 2 years of trying to get me to sit with him for an interview, he contacts LSU on Tuesday as we were getting ready for the first round game of this tournament with more than a dozen questions, demanding a response by Thursday, right before we're scheduled to tip off. Are you kidding me? This was a ridiculous deadline that LSU and I could not possibly meet, and the reporter knew it. It was just an attempt to prevent me from commenting and an attempt to distract us from this tournament. It ain't gonna work, buddy. Unfortunately, this is part of a pattern that goes back years. I told this reporter 2 years ago that I didn't appreciate the hit job he wrote on Brian Kelly, and that's why I wasn't going to do an interview with him. After that, the reporter called 2 former college coaches of mine and left multiple messages that he was with me in Baton Rouge to get them to call him back, trying to trick these coaches into believing that I was working with the Washington Post on a story. When my former coaches spoke to him and found out that I wasn't talking with the reporter, they were just distraught, and they felt completely misled. Former players have told me that the Washington Post has contacted them and offered to let them be anonymous in a story if they'll say negative things about me. The Washington Post has called former disgruntled players to get negative quotes to include in their story. They're ignoring the 40-plus years of positive stories that people or they have heard from people about me. But you see, reporters who give a megaphone to a one-sided, embellished version of things aren't trying to tell the truth. They're trying to sell newspapers and feed the click machine. This is exactly why people don't trust journalists and the media anymore. It's these kinds of sleazy tactics and hatchet jobs that people are just tired of. I'm fed up, and I'm not going to let the Washington Post attack this university, this awesome team of young women I have, or me without a fight. I've hired the best defamation law firm in the country, and I will sue the Washington Post if they publish a false story about me. Not many people are in a position to hold these kind of journalists accountable, but I am, and I'll do it. That's all I'm going to say about this right now. And now I'm going to get back to talking about my basketball team and winning this game tomorrow.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. As you all know, you've been here regularly. Coach Mulkey usually does not make opening statements, so that's all on that topic. If you have questions about LSU's game yesterday and the win over Rice, or the game tomorrow at 2 o'clock against Middle Tennessee, we will open up the floor to questions for Coach Mulkey. Please introduce yourself and your affiliation. And with that, we'll open up the floor.
Coach, Matthew Bernieth on 3. Obviously, Middle Tennessee's shooting and their guard play kind of got to Louisville late yesterday. Just what did you see in them, and how do you evaluate their guard play?
Well, before I answer your question, let me say exactly what I think about Middle Tennessee's program. Rick Insel is a Hall of Fame coach. Rick Insel, I don't know how many years he's been there, but I guarantee you he's been a part of this. I bet in the last 20 years, he's beaten at least 25 to 35 Power 5 teams. 17 of those have been out of the SEC. So it wasn't a surprise to me yesterday that they won. He's extremely good at what he does. His son's on his staff. He has one of my former All-Americans on his staff. Much, much respect to Coach Insel and his family. They have treated me good through the years. They have sat with me at my son's baseball game in Louisville when we were all working in the summer. I love the Insel family. Now, to answer your question, you know they're going to shoot the 3-ball. They all shoot the 3-ball. So you're going to have to be very respectful of the 3-ball, but they also have size. They win. They win. December's the last time they've ever lost a game. So they're very confident. They're very talented. They're very good. The stuff they run will be very difficult for us to defend.
Yeah, just what kind of progress have you guys made? Oh, Michael Cobble, WBRZ TV. What kind of progress have you guys made as far as defending the perimeter? And, you know, obviously your defense has stepped up over the last couple of months, but is it where you want it to be?
Well, I don't think I'm ever satisfied. I think we're much improved. Each team we play is different. The scouting report defensively will be different. They get to the foul line a lot. They get to the foul line. They're pretty much up there in the country on free throw percentage. We know they're going to make threes. It doesn't matter how good we defend the three, they're going to make them. What we've got to do is we've got to do what we do best, and that's make them guard us too. I think transition is an area that maybe we can push it and run some. They don't have much depth. We've been talked about all year about not having much depth. They don't either. So hopefully it'll be a game that won't come down to people fouling out, and we just get out there and play.
Coach Sam Doughton, GoBlueRaiders.com. You mentioned Nina Davis, who's an assistant on Middle Tennessee staff, and someone I know that you advocated for being on Coach Insel's staff. How have you seen her grown since she's joined that staff, and as have you kept that relationship with her?
Absolutely. Nina comes to my house. Nina calls me. I love that child. We talk here about Anissa Morrow being an undersized post player and how good she is. Nina was that good for me at Baylor. Nina was like a ballerina in the paint. You couldn't block her shot. You couldn't block her out. She figured out ways to get her shot off. While it might not have been the most beautiful shot, you couldn't stop her. She and I just have this funny relationship. Y'all know the show 48 Hours? And so it either took place in New Orleans or it takes place in Memphis. So me being from Louisiana, her being from Memphis, we'd go to practice every day, and I said, "What's up, 48?" And it was an inside joke between the two of us. Nina is one of the few former players I have that got into coaching, and I love it. I wish more did. I have more managers that become college coaches than I do players. I don't know why that is, but I'm so grateful that Nina is in coaching, and what better person to learn from than the Insel family.
Chessa Boucher with NBC 33 here in Baton Rouge. Last night, we talked about Angel Reese not having the day that she wanted to have. She seems a bit fiery now. What do you expect to see from her tomorrow in round 2?
Well, I think she kept doing other things. When you're having an off night, you just don't shut down. And Angel didn't shut down. She had almost 20 rebounds. Do something when your shot's not falling or you just seem to be in a funk on the offensive end, and she did. But that game's over. It's survive and advance. But Angel has been in situations before when she didn't play well, and she's always responded. So she wasn't the only one that looked a little shaky yesterday. So tomorrow's a new day. Today is a new day.
What did you see in that film? Anything that can help you going forward with the turnovers?
Oh, Lord, I didn't go back and watch that. Middle Tennessee's too good for me to worry about what happened yesterday. No, we're watching Middle Tennessee as soon as that game was over. We don't even talk about that game. Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't want to go back and look at that.
Just their bigs down low. You know, how far has Aaliyah come as far as being able to, defend without fouling and stay in the game?
She got the 2 fouls quickly yesterday. Aaliyah she's just gotten so much better. Her confidence is good, but what Aaliyah lacks, she can't control, and that's playing time, right? So the more playing time she gets as she gets older, the better she's going to get. So she's coming in, spotting Angel, spotting Morrow, and just look at how much she's improved in spot play versus when she really, really will get a lot of time in the future.
Bryce Coon, 24/7 Sports. You just kind of mentioned, we don't even look at what happened yesterday. Coaches talk all the time. This is truly survive and advance. What's the messaging of, hey, you want to play better, but we've got a really good opponent on Sunday. I mean, how do you balance that just within the short turnaround?
Well, you kind of don't talk about yesterday. You talk about Middle Tennessee because we've got to focus our energy today because we won't be on the floor tomorrow with a 2 o'clock game. We have to do everything today in the film room, everything on the floor. So you don't talk about what happened yesterday. You talk about what we have to do to be successful. And they're very attentive. It's kind of like you flush it.
Coach, Middle's a team that likes to use their sets a lot offensively. When you have so many different sets to go of in a short time frame, how do you sort of prioritize, planning around that?
I think we do the same thing. So that I noticed that in watching them. That's got to be an old school. Rick and Kim like to control who's going to get that shot and not just let them do what a lot of programs do now, and that's just freelance and whoever gets the best shot, take it. To me, that's good coaching. We're going to go over as many of them as we can. Obviously, through the course of the game, it'll be difficult, but I'm hoping it'll be difficult for them too because we're going to run a lot of sets.
We have time for one more if there is one for Coach.
Just softball here. Is there anything you want people to know about your relationship with your players?
Huh?
In regards to your opening statement, is there
Oh,
anything,
no, I told you I wasn't going to talk about that again.
anything about your current relationship with your players?
You better ask them. I think they love me.
Coach,
Y'all
thank you
be
very
good.
much. Once again, LSU and Middle Tennessee tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Coach, you got that. You were up late, right? You heard the time? All right. 2 o'clock tomorrow here in Baton Rouge. We'll be back at 2:15. We'll have players from Middle Tennessee join us then. All right, we welcome you back to Baton Rouge. Middle Tennessee just finishing up practice. Now nice enough to come join us here in the press room. We'll have Coach join us in just a little bit. Well, first we're joined by Jalen Gregory on the far end, and immediately next to me, Savannah Wheeler. Once again, thank you all for coming. Congratulations again on the win yesterday. We'll open up the floor for questions for the players. As always, since we are streaming, please introduce yourself and your affiliation and address which player you are asking a question to. And with that, let's open up the floor.
Savannah, Sam Doughton, GlobalRaiders.com. LSU is a team that obviously attacks the boards really hard at all 5 positions. How are y'all planning on attacking that, as a unit? Is it going to be something that's require all 5 of y'all to really crash the boards hard?
I mean, it's kind of like you said, their physicality is a big part of their game, so I think the best thing we can do is just match that physicality and just keep playing Middle Tennessee basketball. Ultimately, just all 5 committing to the boards and just pushing in transition.
Michael Cobble, WBRZ TV here in Baton Rouge. Just for both girls, we can start with Savannah if you want. Just what kind of confidence do you gain? Obviously, you're on such a heater, right? But what kind of confidence do you gain from a win like yesterday without, making too much of it and carrying it over into the next game?
I mean, our coaches do a great job of just preaching every single game, just play Middle Tennessee basketball and just win another 40 minutes. And, that's the big emphasis that we've been doing this whole season is just playing Middle Tennessee basketball and just focus on one game at a time. So with last night's win, that's in the past, and the only thing we can do now is look forward for tomorrow.
Yeah, we're just Middle Tennessee, and so we got to keep playing that way. And we won last night, so we enjoyed that. And today we turned our focus to LSU.
Jalen, LSU looks to shoot the 2 on offense. Defensively, how can y'all help each other out and keep them out of the paint and force some more jumpers?
Just playing our regular defense. So it's not just one person guarding their man. It's all of us guarding each other. So we have help side, just cover downs and everything. So we're just going to keep sticking to our fundamentals.
Brett Martell with Associated Press. While it's not unprecedented, not a lot of elite college basketball players get to win 20 games in a row. And I was just wondering if you could comment on how a streak like that affects everything from confidence in yourself and your teammates to chemistry, trust, and what it's been like to go through that.
I mean, our non-conference, we had a very challenging non-conference, and it's got us to this point. So, I mean, like I said before, our coaches just preach every single game, just one game at a time. And, we're not only competing against other people, but we're competing against ourselves. So, really just focusing on who we're playing and really focusing within ourselves.
Just same thing that Savannah said, just playing, being ourselves and just playing how we have been all year.
Jalen, Calvin White, MTSU Sidelines. Coach Mulkey was in here a minute ago, and she was talking about how both teams run, an extended amount of sets. How much attention to detail do you have to put into the scout on such a short turnaround on a team like that?
Obviously, we look at what they run and stuff, and so we're going to study that all today and tomorrow before the game. But at the end of the day, it comes down to fundamentals. So if we stick to all of our principles on defense and just executing on offense, then it's really it doesn't come down to what they run. It's just how we play defense.
Brett Martell again with AP. This is open-ended, but I assume you watched a video of LSU's game yesterday. Is that correct? What went through your mind when you saw them traveling and throwing the ball away again and again and again? Did you think it was maybe not indicative of who you're going to see tomorrow, or what did you think about that?
I know they can play better than that. I've seen them and I've watched them, so I know what they're capable of. And we're going to expect their best. And so they're also going to get our best. So we are not going to underestimate them just because of how they played yesterday.
This is for both girls. Take it for what it is. But is there any wow factor to playing LSU? Is that a team that you look at and you're like, oh, their personalities as much as they are ball players? Is there any of that to matching up with them, or is it just strictly ball?
I feel like it's just strictly ball. We try and not get caught up in all that because it's another game, and we're looking at it that way and just saying, hey, this is another game for us to get 40 more minutes. So we're just going to approach it just like we do any other game.
Just a quick one on if you could provide some insight on the front court players that you have, including the two Russians that are 6'5" and 6'6", and what kind of element they've brought to your team this year that's really helped out.
Really, obviously size. We got 6'6", 6'5", so having good physical post players is always beneficial. And one good thing about it is that Anastasia, she can stretch out and shoot the three. So, really just a lot of high-low, and just each post player can do certain little things that can just bring something to the table for this team.
Yeah, they both bring in a lot of stuff for us, and so that's a good thing about our team is we each know what we're good at and what we're not good at, so we just try and stay within ourselves.
As a follow-up, could you provide with Anastasia any insight into what kind of competitor she is and how you would expect her to approach a very high-profile matchup against LSU's front court players?
Really just think about the growth that she has gotten compared to last year. She's done a tremendous job in the offseason to help us get to this point right now. So, it's definitely going to be a good matchup. But really, just a whole season long that she's done a tremendous job playing against other people. So, really, we're just going to treat it like with any other game.
Any other questions for the players while we have them here? We're all good?
No, don't know any Russian.
All right, Savannah and Jalen, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you all again, and good luck tomorrow in the game. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with Middle Tennessee's head coach to wrap things up here in Baton Rouge. We'll be right back. We welcome you back to Baton Rouge. As promised, please be joined by head coach Rick Insel from Middle Tennessee. Of course, we just saw him not too long ago after their win Saturday. So short of having another opening statement like he did last night, we're just going to open up the floor for questions for Coach. So if you have a question, please raise your hand, introduce yourself, and we'll fire away for Coach.
Coach Sam Doughton, GoBlueRaiders.com. I talked to Coach Mulkey about Nina Davis at her press conference earlier, and I was hoping I'd get some insight in how, Coach Davis came on your radar in the first place to join your staff, and maybe what Kim said about her when you were looking to hire her in the first place.
Well, Nina was working for Fox in Los Angeles, had a great job there. And in the summer, she was working for my oldest son in travel team ball, kind of traveling with them, helping them coach, things like that. And I kind of watched her, and I liked the way she was working with the girls. I liked the way she handled a lot of the situations that was going on there. So I thought to myself, if there's ever a chance, then I might want to hire her. And so when Shalon left to take over at Florida A&M, I asked Matt to call Nina and see if she's interested, and he did. She was working like I said, in Los Angeles with Fox Sports. And she said, yeah, I've thought about it, and I think I might like to try it. And so we flew her in for an interview, and we hired her. I mean, I saw right quick, she's had her jersey retired at Baylor. She's won wherever she's went, high school, college, right on down the line. She's been under Coach Mulkey. I guess more than anything, I wanted to hire her for that because she had some experience there. And, we didn't bring her in to sit on her hands. We brought her in to coach. She's got this scout tomorrow, so, that probably how we do tomorrow. If we lose, I'll probably fire her. But, Coach Mulkey may hire her if I fire her. But no, she's really good. She works well with our girls. She works well with the university. She's very personable. She's a rock star. I think, one day she'll command her own team, and she'll do a good job doing that.
Michael Cobble, WBRZ TV here in Baton Rouge. The girls described their style of play as just, Middle Tennessee basketball, right? So obviously you have an idea of what they want them to be. I think one of them said it sounded like the sum is greater than the individual parts. Is that?
It is. It's kind of like the part whole process or method, in teaching. We work individually with we recruit to our system. And each one of those young ladies was recruited into our system. When we go out recruiting, we pretty much know what we want in every one of our positions, and we're looking for those young ladies to fill that position, to fill that role. So what she told you was exactly right. They know what we expect of them. They know their role. They know where they need to be shooting the ball and where they don't need to shoot the ball. They know what we want to do when we go into a game. And, we call that the Middle Tennessee way. I'm sure a lot of people have got terms that they use for their program, but we want to just be Middle Tennessee. We know what we expect. Like yesterday, a lot of people said, well, did you panic? A lot of my own people. Did you panic when we went 18 down? I really didn't know that we were 18 down. I thought we were 14, 15, 16 maybe down. But I was more concerned about our players executing what we wanted done defensively and offensively. Now, after the game, somebody said we was 18 down. If I'd have known that, I'd have probably maybe panicked. But I knew I never did give up hope or faith in what was going on yesterday. I felt like if we could hit a shot or two, then we would get rolling. And we pretty much have commanded the third and fourth quarters all year. So we going in at halftime, the big thing, we as a coaching staff, we were 11 down. And we felt like we could come back from 11 down. And we were trying to cut that in half in the third quarter, and we were able to tie it up and take the lead. So that kind of played into our hands, and we felt like, hey, now we're in command. I know you didn't ask this question, but we gave up 3 little quick jump shots in the lane. I didn't like that. I thought we needed to make them work a little harder for that. And that cut it from, I think, 9 or 11 to 6, something like that. But I was pretty confident still with what was going on out there.
Coach, LSU is obviously one of the most talented teams on paper in the nation, particularly in the front court where they really attack the boards, one of the best rebounding teams in the country. How are y'all going to have to work as a team to, win on the boards tomorrow?
Well, for us to be in the game, to win the game, we got to rebound. I mean, I think that's the one area that we've got to do a better job at. We can't go out there and give them 18 to 20 offensive rebounds. If we do, we're not going to win the game. And we've already talked that with our players. We got to rebound. And, they're an extremely talented rebounding group. So, we worked on that this morning, and they've got all kinds of film that they're going to be watching the rest of the day and through dinner and then even in tonight before they go to bed. And this month pretty much gets into their scouting report. We've got a program that we use that we know who's getting into their scouts and who's not getting into their scouts. And, you can pretty much bet that those 6 or 7 that we've been playing all year long, when we open up that program, you can bet that they're going to be the ones that are watching their scout.
Rick, Calvin White, MTSU sidelines. All season long, you guys have talked about how you take it one game at a time. Jalen and Savannah said that, they were going to treat tomorrow like just any other game. How does that kind of level-headedness help you guys do what you do?
Well, I think that's coach speak. Most coaches say, hey, one game at a time, one play at a time, and we're guilty of doing that too. But I don't think that you take tomorrow's game as one game at a time. You're playing to get into the Sweet 16. You're playing an extremely talented team. You're playing them at home. Everything's got to be laying in their favor, and we know that. But we have been in some uncomfortable situations before, this year and last year, and we've come out on top, and we've lost some of them. I would say that coming in tomorrow, that our team will pay less attention to the crowd than probably any team they've had in here, including a lot of the SEC teams. We've played before packed crowds before. They don't seem to get rattled. Now, they may get rattled tomorrow, but if they do, that'll be a first. I think that we'll do, if we can get what we want to do across from the bench, I think we'll be okay. And, y'all been there, some of you have. The education day is pretty tough. I mean, I don't know that it can be any louder than education day. When the dogs howl 8 miles from Murphy Center, that's pretty loud.
Chessa Boucher with NBC 33 here in Baton Rouge. Coach Mulkey talked about how both of y'all as coaches are more that old style, traditional.
We are.
And you run sets offensively. So what do you expect to see from this team and vice versa?
Well, I'm a lot older than Kim. I remember when Kim was playing. I was coaching in high school at that point, so we knew all about her. And then, of course, she played at La Tech for Leon and Sonia, and I knew Leon a lot better than I did Sonia. But the way she commanded her basketball program there is the way she commands her college team right now, and the way she's done since. I knew that she was going to be a great coach when she got into coaching, because point guard, they got to know everybody's role and everybody's position. Kim's got a very talented team right now. I mean, they probably got as much talent as anybody in the country. And when they turn it on, they're tough. I mean, they showed that last year when they won the national championship. How many people didn't really anybody predict that they would win and a lot of people like to say now, well, the reason they won it, South Carolina got knocked off. I don't know about that. When you get into the tournament, it doesn't necessarily come down to the most talented team. It comes down to the team that's playing the best, who wins the national championship. And so I think that's what we're looking at. Right now, we're playing pretty good. And, if you went and talked to our girls, they would probably talk the same way that the LSU girls are doing. We're here to get to the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, and that's kind of been our goal all year long. So now we're one game away. They're one game away. So it's probably going to come down to who plays the smartest and the hardest.
Speaking of executing, were you a little surprised to see LSU as careless with the ball as they were yesterday?
Yesterday? Yes, no, I didn't see the game. My coaches did. And they, I listened to them last night, but they didn't really say a whole lot about them not handling the ball. They were saying a whole lot about what they could do with the ball. We watched a lot of film last night, and it's the thing about playing Kim and LSU. We don't play on Sundays and Thursdays. We play sometimes on Thursdays, but not very much this year. We were able to see them play a lot of games this year against Tennessee, against South Carolina, Mississippi State. So it's not like we hadn't seen them all year long. And as a coach, and all my coaches in particular, we're taking notes thinking that we might one day be down the road like tomorrow and have a chance to play an LSU or to play a South Carolina. So it's not like when we went in last night to look at LSU, we pretty much knew their personnel and what she wanted to do. Plus, kind of an advantage for us is Nina has been on Kim's. She's played for Kim, and she knows her like the back of her hand. So that helps us out a little bit there, too.
As a guy who's been around the game for this long, what are your thoughts on how good women's basketball is running right now?
Oh, it's great. It's great. You go back, this is what Pat wanted. Pat's the greatest ambassador the women's basketball world's ever seen. You know, they may say this one or that one, and I could list some names, but I'm telling you, I've been around through it all. Pat Summitt has made it where we got good salaries. She made it where our players are a lot better now than they were back then because the emphasis has been placed in the last 10, 12, 15 years on women's basketball, and we're still growing. Look at the WNBA. I've gone to a WNBA game before where there was, you could shot a cannon off in and not hit anybody. And now you can't get in the game. Everybody's got a packed house. So you got to take that back. And I'll mention one other name, Betty James. A lot of people they don't either know who Betty James was, or they lost sight of the fact she's the first one that started the WBCA, Women's Basketball Coaches Association. And she started pressing to have more regulations. She started pressing to have more rights. No telling how many times she went to Washington, D.C. to the lobby for the women's game. Now, Betty's passed away, and you've got other people that's taken over, but Betty James, Pat Summitt, to me, were two of the most important names in the game of women's basketball. And I think a lot of people will remember Pat. Not many people will remember Betty, but they both kind of ran hand in hand. I love both of them. And, I miss both of them even today.
Anything else for Coach? Coach, we appreciate your insight. Thank you very much.
Thank
and wish
you.
you good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
And that'll wrap it up from today here in Baton Rouge. Don't forget, Middle Tennessee and LSU tomorrow, 2 o'clock in Baton Rouge. We will see you following the game for interviews with both of the teams. Until then, have a great Saturday.